I've never been one of those people who's afraid of the dark. Honestly, I always found it comforting. A quiet blank space where the world just shuts down for a while. That all changed the day I moved into my first apartment alone. It was a big step for me, a real milestone. I found this small studio on the third floor of a classic pre-war building. It had character, you know? High ceilings, original hardwood floors that creaked with every step, and a radiator system that seemed to have a life of its own, clicking and groaning through the night. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Just the usual quirks of an old building. I figured it was a small price to pay for the independence I'd been dreaming of. My job was demanding. I worked long hours, often coming home completely drained, with just enough energy to eat something quick and collapse into bed. Sleep wasn't just a luxury. It was a necessity. I needed every minute of it to recharge for the next day. I'd fall asleep almost instantly, a deep, heavy slumber that usually lasted until my alarm went off. That's how it was for the first few weeks, normal. Then, one night, something shifted. I woke up with a jolt. It wasn't a noise that woke me, not a nightmare I could remember. It was just a sudden, stark awareness. I was awake, completely and utterly awake. I lay there perfectly still, my eyes wide open in the darkness. I didn't move a muscle, just strained my ears, listening. The familiar sounds of the old building were there, the distant hum of traffic, the rhythmic click of the heater. But there was something else. The air in the room felt wrong. It felt heavy, thick, like the pressure before a thunderstorm. It was a feeling I couldn't quite place, but it settled deep in my gut. And that's when I heard it, breathing. It was slow, calm, and unnervingly steady. A soft, rhythmic in and out sound, and it wasn't mine. I held my own breath to be sure, my heart starting to pound against my ribs. The sound continued, patient and persistent. The scariest part was where it was coming from. It was right beside my bed. Not from the wall, not from the hallway, but from the empty space right next to where I was lying. My mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. It had to be the heater, right? Or maybe the old pipes in the wall were making a new, weird noise. I told myself it was just the building settling, my tired mind playing tricks on me, but the sound didn't change. It didn't clank or hiss like a pipe. It was the distinct, organic sound of respiration. The sound of someone standing perfectly still, breathing quietly through their nose. The image that formed in my mind was terrifying. Someone standing there, in the dark, just inches away from my face. My hand started to shake as I slowly, carefully reached for my phone on the nightstand. My fingers fumbled with the screen, the cold glass slick with sweat. I swiped up and hit the flashlight icon. The beam of light cut through the darkness, instantly illuminating the corner of my room. It swept across the floor, the wall, the empty space beside my bed. There was nothing, absolutely nothing there. Just my laundry hamper and a stack of books. The moment the light came on, the breathing stopped, vanished. The silence that followed was somehow even more terrifying than the sound itself. My heart was a drum solo in my chest. I kept the light on, scanning every inch of my tiny studio apartment. The closet was shut. The front door was locked and chained. The windows were secure. I was alone. But I knew what I had heard. I barely slept for the rest of the night. I just sat up in bed with the lamp on, my phone's flashlight still active, pointed at the spot where the sound had been. I tried to convince myself it was all just stress. The long hours at work, the pressure of living alone for the first time. It had to be a hypnagogic hallucination, one of those waking dreams you can have when you're exhausted. Yeah, that was it. My brain was just overtired. By the time the sun came up, I had almost managed to believe it. I went to work, drowned myself in coffee, and tried to forget the whole thing. I told myself that tonight would be different. I was just tired. It was all in my head. That night, I left a small nightlight on in the kitchen, its soft glow barely reaching my bed. It was a childish comfort, but I needed it. I fell into an uneasy sleep, my body still tense. And then it happened again. I woke up, same sudden awareness, same time on the clock, 3:17 a.m. I lay frozen, listening. The heavy feeling was back. And then the breathing, slow, calm, steady, coming from the exact same spot. This time I knew I wasn't dreaming. This was real. Every hair on my body stood on end. My first instinct was to grab my phone again, to blast the space with light and make it go away. But a different, colder curiosity took hold. What was this? What was happening? So I didn't turn on the light. I just lay there, pretending to be asleep, my eyes squeezed shut. I matched my own breathing to the sound, trying to stay as calm as possible, which was nearly impossible. I listened to it for what felt like an eternity. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It was so close, so present. And then something new happened, something that made a whimper escape my throat. I felt the mattress beside me dip, a slow, deliberate compression of the springs, as if a significant weight had just been placed on the edge of the bed. It was the distinct feeling of someone sitting down right next to me. I could feel the slight shift of the mattress under my own body. My eyes were screwed shut, but I could picture it. A figure sitting on the edge of my bed in the dark, just breathing. That was it. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I think I was too scared to do anything. I just lay there, paralyzed with a kind of fear I had never known was possible. A fear so pure it was almost a physical force. I have no idea how long I stayed like that, how long the weight remained on my bed, or when the breathing finally stopped. The next thing I remember is the first light of dawn filtering through my window. The mattress felt normal again. The air was clear. It was over. I didn't wait. I got out of bed, my body shaking uncontrollably. I packed a single bag with my essentials, my clothes, my laptop. I didn't care about the rest. I walked out of that apartment and I never went back. 2 days later, after crashing on a friend's couch, I called my landlord to break the lease. I made up some excuse about a family emergency. I just wanted out. As I was finishing the call, I hesitated, and then I asked, just out of curiosity, did the previous tenant ever mention anything strange about the apartment? There was a pause on the other end of the line. The landlord sighed.